Book 4, Lesson 9. Advantage. Advantage. Noun. Something that is helpful or useful. It is an advantage to be able to speak French when visiting Paris. Take advantage of. Take advantage of. Verb. To make use of. To benefit oneself by treating others unfairly. Martina took advantage of her position as camp leader by giving all the best jobs to her friends.
Now, let's review word meaning. True or false? If you are trying to learn how to use inline skates, it's an advantage if you already know how to ice skate. If you said true, you are correct. Inline skating is a lot like ice skating, so it would be helpful to know how to ice skate.
Astonish. Astonish. Verb. To surprise or amaze. It astonished me to discover that my new friend and I were born on the same day in the same town. Astonishment. Astonishment. Noun. Great surprise or amazement. The children watched in astonishment as the magician pulled a rabbit out of a hat.
Now, let's review word meaning. Choose A or B. Which of these is more likely to astonish? A. Seeing the ocean for the first time, or B. Going to the grocery store. If you said A, you are correct. The ocean is an amazing sight. The grocery store is rather ordinary.
Confirm. Confirm. Verb. Number 1. To show or prove to be true. Before giving me a library card, the librarian asked me to confirm my street address by showing a copy of my phone bill. Number 2. To approve or give one's agreement to. The members of Congress vote to confirm the appointment of Supreme Court judges.
Now, let's review word meaning. True or false? Your passport is a document that confirms your nationality. If you said true, you are correct. Your passport shows or proves your nationality.
Distant. Distant. Adjective. Number 1. Very far away in time. Space travel in the very distant future may involve journeys to the stars. Number 2. Very far away, not near or close by. Marco Polo's travels took him to many distant lands. Distance. Distance. Noun. The length of the space between two places. The distance between Denine's home and her school was exactly 1 mile.
Now, let's review word meaning. Choose A or B. Which of these is a measure of distance? A. 10 minutes or B. 10 miles? If you said B, you're right. 10 miles is a length of space. 10 minutes is a length of time.
Founder. Founder. Noun. A person who sets up something that lasts. George Washington and Thomas Jefferson are 2 of the founders of our nation. Verb. To sink below the surface of the water. The ship struck a rock and foundered before a rescue team could reach it.
Now, let's review word meaning. Yes or no? A boulder would founder if thrown into a lake. If you said yes, you're correct. Rocks do not float. A boulder would sink below the surface of the water if thrown in.
Hamlet. Hamlet. Noun. A small village. A single street ran through the hamlet, which had one church, a general store, and about 100 houses.
Now, let's review word meaning. True or false? Paris, France would be considered a hamlet. If you said false, you were right. Paris is a large city, not a small village.
Host. Host. Noun. Number 1. A large number. Graceland is visited by hosts of people from all over the world who come to see the house where Elvis Presley lived. Number 2. One who greets and entertains guests and takes care of their needs at a party or restaurant. The guests said goodbye to their host and thanked him for a lovely New Year's Eve party.
Now, let's review word meaning. Choose A or B. At a housewarming party, who would be considered a host? A, the home's owner, or B, someone attending the party? If you said A, you were right. The owner of the house would greet and entertain guests at a housewarming.
Misgiving. Misgiving. Noun. A feeling of doubt, uncertainty, or concern about what may happen in the future. If Ellen had any misgivings about joining the group, she gave no sign of it.
Now, let's review word meaning. Yes or no, a sense of misgiving makes you feel calm and reassured. If you said no, you're correct. If you have misgivings, you feel uncomfortable or uncertain.
Parch. Parch, verb. To make or become very dry. The sun parched the fields and made the grass turn brown. Parched. Parched. Adjective. Lacking water. Thirsty. We didn't take enough water with us, and we were parched before we came to the end of our walk.
Now, let's review word meaning. True or false? A field of wheat would be parched after a week of steady rain. If you said false, you're right. After a week of rain, a field of wheat would not be lacking water.
Prospect. Prospect. Noun. Something that is waited for, expected, or hoped for. All the hotels were full, and there seemed little prospect of our finding a place to spend the night. Verb. To look in the ground for valuable metals like gold and silver. The 4 men camped alongside the river told us they were prospecting for gold. Prospector. Prospector. Noun. A person who explores an area to look for valuable metals. The prospector let out a whoop of joy when he saw some shiny yellow objects lying on the riverbank.
Now, let's review word meaning. Choose A or B. Which of these historical events involved prospecting? A, the California Gold Rush, or B, World War II? If you said A, you're correct. Many people moved west to look for a valuable metal, gold, in 1849.
Scarce. Scarce. Adjective. In short supply, not plentiful. When gasoline is scarce, the price goes up. Scarcity. Scarcity. Noun. a shortage. Due to the scarcity of candles in the store when the hurricane struck, customers were allowed only 2 each.
Now, let's review word meaning. Yes or no. Sand is scarce in the desert. If you said no, you are right. Sand is plentiful in the desert. It is not in short supply.
Shrewd. Shrewd. Adjective. Clever. Good at understanding what is needed and acting on it. A shrewd lawyer prepares her client to answer questions she knows the client will be asked in court.
Now, let's review word meaning. Yes or no. A shrewd person is smart and good at making decisions. If you said yes, you are right. Shrewd people understand what is needed and take action.
Soul. Soul. Adjective. Being the only one of its kind. Belonging to only one person or group. After her husband died, Mrs. Mazur became the sole owner of the toy store. Noun. Number 1. The bottom surface of the foot or of a shoe or boot. Shoes with leather soles usually cost more than those made of plastic. Number 2. A flat fish that is caught and eaten for food. Grilled sole is a popular item on the seafood restaurant's menu.
Now, let's review word meaning. Choose A or B. Which of these have soles on the bottom? A. Swimming pools, or B. Shoes? If you said B, you are correct. The bottom of a shoe or boot is known as the sole.
Torment. Torment. Noun. Great pain or suffering. I cannot imagine the torment suffered by a wild animal caught in a steel trap. Torment. Torment. Verb. To cause pain or suffering. The thought that she might have been the cause of the accident tormented the driver of the car.
Now, let's review word meaning. Choose A or B. Which of these is more likely to torment someone? A. Listening to the radio, or B. Having nightmares every night? If you said B, you are right. Having nightmares every night is not pleasant and would probably cause suffering.
Typical. Typical. Adjective. Being like others of its kind. A typical home in this area has 3 bedrooms, a kitchen, a living room, and 1 bathroom.
Now, let's review word meaning. True or false? Very cold weather is typical of the winter months in Alaska. If you said true, you're correct. Most winter days in Alaska are alike. Very cold.
Next, let's move to today's story, The 49ers. The story was so exciting. It was in all the newspapers. It was December of 1848. Television and radio were discoveries that lay in the distant future. Newspapers were the sole means of finding out what was happening in the world. And something to stir the readers' imaginations was going on in California. Millions of people in homes across the United States read about it over the breakfast table. President James Polk had just confirmed what, until then, only a relatively few people knew for certain. Gold had been discovered in California, lots of it. Now everyone was in on the secret. A typical worker in the 1840s earned about $1 a day. Gold sold for $20 an ounce. and in California, gold was lying on the ground and in stream beds, exposed to view, just waiting to be picked up. Not surprisingly, thousands of Americans quit their jobs and headed for the promised land in the West. Many left behind their families. If they had misgivings, they tried to disguise them from their wives and children. The plan was to return as soon as they struck it rich. It was now 1849. Those who joined the hosts taking part in the California gold rush were called the 49ers. There were no airplanes, no trains, no cars, and no roads to California in 1849. San Francisco was a hamlet of less than 2,000 people. Many Easterners took the hazardous journey by ship. From New York, they had to sail 17,000 miles around the tip of South America. The journey took about 6 months. Those with families and lots of goods to carry traveled overland by covered wagon. This journey also took about 6 months. Crossing the Nevada desert, they experienced the worst part of the journey. Water was scarce. Often the exhausted travelers had drunk the last drop with days to go before journey's end. They were easy victims for merchants who set out from San Francisco and traveled east to meet the parched travelers. These businessmen brought wagons loaded with barrels of water. The travelers could now get water for a price. Tormented by thirst, they paid $1, $5, even $100 for a glass of the precious liquid. Merchants like these took advantage of the law of supply and demand. This law states that something is worth whatever someone is willing to pay for it. Sam Brannan understood this law better than anyone. He was a San Francisco merchant and one of the city's founders. The people who had first discovered the gold had tried to keep it quiet, but word leaked out. Soon after Brannan heard the news, he repeated it to large gatherings of eager listeners. He waved a jar of gold dust as proof. Suddenly, lots of people wanted tools for gold digging. They needed pickaxes and shovels. They needed the metal pans necessary for sifting through small rocks, water, and sand. And people could get this equipment, again, for a price. Before spreading the good news, Brannan had prepared. He had gone around the area shrewdly buying up every pickaxe, shovel, and pan he could locate. A metal pan Brannan bought for 20 cents he could now sell for $15. And even at that price, there was no shortage of takers. In 9 weeks, Brannan made $36,000. He went on to become the richest man in California. He was so rich he even circulated his own money. Over 250,000 people had poured into California by the mid-1850s. Many of the new arrivals were attracted to San Francisco. The city grew at an astonishing rate. The price of a house went up tenfold in less than a year. For a period of time, the number of people living there doubled every 10 days. Most never got rich, and many who did were not able to hold on to their newfound wealth. Sam Brannan died a poor man in 1889. He didn't even leave enough money to pay for his own funeral. There were some winners, though. These were the 49ers who had come not to prospect for gold, but to work hard at ordinary jobs. These were the trailblazers who built California and made it what it is today, the Golden State. The end.